Why Interpol has issued a blue notice against Luthra brothers.
While the hunt is on for the Luthra brothers, the owners of the Goa Nightclub, Interpol has issued a blue collar notice.
How a blue notice is different from other notices and how exactly it works, and how India uses Interpol to track the fugitives. The Goa nightclub fire had killed 25 people and the owners had fled India already. In this particular scenario, it prompted India to look for international assistance and it has triggered blue notice in order to look for some answers and accountability. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh and today we are going to understand the importance of the international assistance that comes with Interpol. What are the types of notices that exist, how do they facilitate, what are the challenges associated with them, and most importantly, what is the significance around that. So let us start with understanding that how this blue notice came into the whole scenario. It started with the nightclub fire that happened in Goa and it took lives of 25 people. And when we are talking about this particular tragic incident, we also have to turn our side towards the fact that more than the issue of the owners fleeing from here, this is a major issue of urban safety lapse as well. When we talk about urban safety lapse, we have to understand it was not just about violation of multiple fire safety norms, but also how there was overcrowding beyond permissible limits, how there was lack of municipal oversight and many more things that should be regarded especially in a tourism hub such as Goa. And this is something that we need to consider for our country across. But at the same time, when this tragic incident took place, that moment we noticed that just like many fugitive offenders, the owners of this very nightclub had fled India. In this whole situation, it was an important move from our country where we had to immediately contact the Thailand authorities and also bring Interpol in this situation so as to make sure there is some accountability to what happened, there is some justice and there are some answers to it. Now, when we are talking about this whole anticipation by the Indian government and them reaching out for international assistance, this has triggered an issuance of blue notice so that the location and other information related to the owners of this particular nightclub can be traced. And this is where we get to understand that this is again a classic example where we get to see fugitives immediately fleeing abroad early in order to escape the whole process, the answerability that comes with it. So this case basically again exposes how swiftly fugitives flee across borders and how it is very important to bring in the global powers and assistance so as to ensure that justice prevails. Now that we have understood the basic context, let us move to understanding that what kind of notice has been issued. So this particular notice has been issued by Interpol. When we talk about Interpol, that is International Criminal Police Organization, ICPO, it is nothing but a global network that we get to see. And in this global network, we have 196 countries which share information regarding the criminal activities, their tracking, the fugitives, and basically this is a platform for coordination. Now this blue notice that we are talking about, that has been issued by Interpol so that the global criminal information exchange can take place among 196 member nations, and that is why this particular notice has been issued, and this is how other Interpol notices are also issued. Now the reason these notices are color coded, because this helps the countries to track fugitives for the specific purposes, missing persons or security threats. And these notices are not to be misunderstood as arrest warrants, except for one which can lead to arrest depending on the local laws. So there is a clear specification which needs to be kept in mind. And for India, the coordination with Interpol is done directly by Central Bureau of Investigation, which is the main nodal body, and these are the notices which help countries to coordinate, be it extradition, be it tracking, be it missing person search and threat alerts as well. Now moving to the blue notice that has been issued and how it is going to help India. So basically when we are talking about a blue notice, it is nothing but a request for information. So you are putting a request in the global network of 196 countries. In this particular situation, the direct coordination and help would be from Thailand's authorities so that the individual's location, identity, movements or criminal activities can be seen. This is just about the information. It is usually used when the investigation is just started or it is ongoing and the suspect has fled the jurisdiction, just like in this particular scenario. Other than that, whenever more data is required in order before seeking criminal charges or asking for extradition, blue notice is used because we need more information before actually pressing the charges or asking for extradition. In this scenario, it is not at all a arrest request which we need to understand. Now, blue notice has been issued. In this particular context, it also becomes important for us to understand that how it helps India. It helps India because it easily helps in tracking the travel entries and exits across the borders of the member nations. It also brings in the confirmation in terms of presence in Thailand because as of now, both of these particular owners have been detained, and it monitors the movements in other Southeast Asian nations, and this also helps in preparing for possible red notice later. That means there are more color coded notices that we need to talk about. So let us begin with talking about these color coded notices. The first one is blue notice, which is used to collect information, as I said, be it about the person's location, identity or the criminal activities, so as to facilitate the investigation or issuance or pressing of charges. Then we have the next one, that is the green notice. In such a scenario, when a green notice is issued, it is basically for warning that a person's criminal activities are going on and they might pose a threat to public safety. So that is when the Interpol will issue a green notice if there is some sort of criminal activity associated with an individual and it has the possibility to harm the public at large. Then the next one we have is the purple notice. It is issued in a scenario where there is to share or request information not on location identity but on criminal methods, objects, devices or concealment techniques from the global network. For example, how the terrorist groups are operating, what exactly is the concealment technique that you are using. So in order to gather that information, not about identities, locations, purple notice is used. So this is where the distinction between blue and purple notice comes in. The next one we have is the black notice. Now black notice is again to gather information, but it is about unidentified bodies, people, individuals who are not being able to recognize and have passed away. In this particular context, black notices are released. Then we have another one which is silver notice, and it is a prominent one because it is used to identify and trace criminal assets, be it properties, be it money or vehicles across the borders. So this helps in countries understanding, especially when we are talking about economic offenders who have fled the country. So if their criminal assets needs to be tracked, then silver notice has to be issued by the Interpol. The next one we have is the yellow notice. It is usually used in a scenario to find missing person, and in this particular context, it is specially used for minors, or in a scenario there are people who are not able to identify themselves. Yellow notice is also used. Now coming to the next one, that is the orange notice. It is used to alert not just about an individual or the criminal activity, be it about an event, be it about a person or object that might pose a serious and imminent threat to public safety. So you have to understand these color codings are there to bring clarity between the 196 member nations that are functioning, and they know what exactly this particular notice implies. And then we have the next one, that is the red notice. This is that notice that has been used in the case of Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi, and this is to locate and also arrest individuals which are wanted for prosecution and to serve a prison sentence. In this scenario only, you get to see that the arrest is present, and that too according to the local laws. So all of these notices are there to serve a specific purpose, and the color coding is to make sure there is uniformity, clarity and execution and better coordination across the member nations which are present. Now I hope you are very clear with the notices that I have discussed. Now there is a special notice, form of notice, which is not color coded, but rather it is associated with an agency, that is United Nations Security Council Special Notice. So this is a Interpol United Nations Security Council Special Notice. It is issued for groups and individuals who are the specific targets of UN Security Council's sanction committee, and that is why they have a separate notice for this. Now that's all in terms of types of notices. Now let us move to understand that how exactly Interpol notices work for India, because that is something that is important for our own context and exams preparation. So if we talk about Interpol's nodal agency, we already know that is Central Bureau of Investigation, that is CBI, and it functions as NCB India. Now the whole process, that there is a notice that has to be issued by Interpol, it can begin at the following stage, where at the state police or enforcement directorate or NIA, they submit the request not directly to Interpol but to NCB India, that is CBI. CBI verifies, understands the legal criteria, and that is when this request is sent to Interpol's headquarters in Lyon, France. After that, this particular agency, Interpol, circulates this particular notice to all 196 countries. So this becomes very helpful for us in order to make sure there is extradition, location tracking, informed travel and activities related to certain criminals, fugitive offenders, and also getting background and criminal network links. And for the very same, we have a proper legal framework in place, where there is Extradition Act of 1962, there are mutual legal assistance treaties and bilateral extradition treaties existing as well. Can you give me examples of these treaties in the comments section? Maybe the ones which have been recently signed and can help the very known fugitive offenders to be brought back to India, extradited to India. Now on this note, now that we have understood what are the types of Interpol notices, how Interpol functions with India, now we will be moving to another important dimension here, that why this is crucial for India. Why this assistance is not something that we should take lightly. This is significant for India because when we talk about the changing nature of crime and the globalized world that we live in, we find that high number of fugitives are already fleeing India. They are economic offenders, they are cyber criminals, they are gender crimes related criminals, all of them. In order to track them and bring accountability and justice, this is a very important platform. Second, as the face of crime is changing, evolving, so does the face of terrorism and the borders and boundaries of terrorism. Terrorism has become and evolved into a cross-border problem where there are networks established, especially for India. We have Pakistan-Afghanistan corridor, which has been a big problem for us. We have the Myanmar-Bangladesh corridor, which is a big problem for us. So in order to address that, such global assistance becomes greatly handy. Other than that, we also are getting to see that crimes are not just fixated at a single city, country, state, rather they have become transnational, be it in form of drug trafficking, financial fraud or cyber crime. And in day-to-day activities, it also helps in monitoring foreign visitors, international criminal gangs, and overall it helps in strengthening India's global policing capability so that there is real-time intelligence sharing, understanding and coordination so as to ensure that all of these concerns can be better addressed. Now we will be moving on to understand that what are the challenges and limitations when we are talking about significance, that a lot can be done with this global assistance through Interpol. We also need to understand that there are certain limitations to it. For example, the biggest limitation that comes that this is not legally binding. When we are talking about notices, when we are talking about arrest, countries have their own sovereignty, they can refuse arrest. Other than that, political or asylum claims, they are used to block extraditions that we have seen, be it UK, Canada. There are direct concerns over human rights and jail conditions that delay extradition. So extradition has also issues like this associated, and more importantly, dual criminality that we get to see, requirement delays and also blocks the red notices. Some countries do not facilitate this, sometimes Interpol rejects the notices, and the coordination with multiple agencies often slows action. So as much as we are expecting great work with coordination, there are certain lags that lie right in front of us, and probably that's why even after having so many economic offenders, fugitive offenders who have fled our nation, and multiple efforts to bring them back and bring justice to our taxpayers' money, to the criminal activities that have been done, there have been little and very slow progress that we have seen. And in this particular scenario, the nightclub fire that has taken place in Goa, this is again an important place where which it shows that there are loopholes in early stage of criminal tracking. Blue notice will help India, has helped India because these people have been detained, and it also clearly shows why that global cooperation is very much important in the time where we are living in a globalized world. Now that was all for today. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you so much.